How about Game 7, James Harden choking again?
Couldn't score.
Couldn't do anything.
I'm
Didn't he have like 12 assists?
It doesn't matter. They lost. What was even the final of that game? How much did that game? Because I missed the first.
They were up 31, and then everybody started putting the subs in.
Dude, so the frustrating thing about this game, it was actually a good game. It was Clippers up at the end of the first.
Yeah, end of the first quarter.
Second, Denver made a little bit of a turning of the tide,
Or
but it
were
was
they
still an 8-point game.
Yeah.
Third quarter,
All hell broke
4
loose.
minutes into the
Yeah.
third, good night.
Yeah.
Like a 25-4 run or whatever it was. It was curtains for the Clippers. Harden did nothing. And look, I don't even know how much of James Harden's stuff you want to get to.
I'd love to get to a lot of it. I can't.
Would you really?
I would love to. I can't stand that guy, and that made me laugh out loud on Saturday.
Okay. I wasn't surprised that was what James Harden did. It's who he is in big closeout games.
And he deserves all of this. I part of me, you're so used to it and you almost expect it at this point, both with the organization and with the star with the player.
7 points
in a game 7. I mean, that's all-time embarrassing. That should ruin your talk about coming up small in a big moment for a guy who doesn't have a title.
That should keep him out of the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, dude. Like you go 2 of it.
Get out of the Hall
He
of
only
Fame.
took 8 shots in the game.
Get
Like,
out.
at least shoot the ball. At least be a Russell Westbrook and start chalking it up left and right. His last, let's see, what is this? 5 elimination games in the NBA. I can't even remember what teams he was playing for all these
Philly,
years.
previous the Clippers.
And then it was Brooklyn, and then it was Houston.
And then Houston, yeah.
2021 against Milwaukee, he had 22 points. They lost the game. I believe that was the Kevin Durant game, if I'm not mistaken.
What did he shoot, though?
He was 5 of 17 from the floor, 2 of 12 from 3 with 4 turnovers.
Yeah, so his points don't even represent how bad he was in that game.
Game 6 against Miami the next year, he had 11 points, 4 of 9 from the floor, 3 of 7, 4 turnovers, eliminated. 2023, that was the year he was in Philly. They had a 3-2 series lead, I believe, on Boston that season, if I'm not mistaken. They lost Game 6, choked it away. In Game 7, he had 9 points. He was 3 of 11 from the floor.
They got blown out in that game, right?
1 of 5 from 3, 5 turnovers. I believe they got blown out. Last year against Dallas, he had 16 points, 0 of 6 from 3. And then this year, 7 points with 1 of 4 from 3, 2 of 8 shooting. He is one of the worst big game performers we have seen in the history of professional sports.
It's not just basketball.
No.
I don't know. Like who? I was trying to think of this yesterday.
That's not even counting the 0 for 27 streak that Houston went on years ago against Golden State when he was the face of that team.
Well, don't forget, also, speaking of the Clippers, famously, the Clippers melted down when Chris Paul was there.
They did.
Who was on the bench when the Rockets made that comeback for the entire fourth quarter?
James Harden was on the bench for the comeback.
It's crazy. Like, he is all-time in that sport. I think you can make all-time in all sports.
Yep.
I don't even know. I can't think of an equivalent in football or baseball.
Somebody you would trust less with, like, your life on the line to deliver for you when you need it most.
And listeners might say, well, A-Rod or Barry Bonds. Yeah, well, they at least had redemption stories. And like A-Rod was good the year the Yanks won in 2009.
Yeah.
And Bonds was a phenomenal force
And
the year that they
02
lost the World Series.
Yeah, he hit like 38 home runs in that
So
series.
at least they exercised the demons.
He did.
I don't know who the football equivalent of this is. Can you think of the quarterback?
I mean, people right now would probably put it on a guy like Lamar. Lamar gets a little bit of this label. I think it's unfair, but that's a name that would get thrown out.
If you want to use Lamar, that's
Tony Romo.
fine.
I go Tony Romo. He had a lot of this. Couldn't catch a snap to win a game in Seattle. Like, he had a lot of those kind of moments.
He also threw a nice pass to Dez that the refs stole from him out of Green Bay that would have put him in the conference championship game.
Very true. Very true.
Even Lamar and Romo examples. Totally fair if you think, okay, come up short, guys. 2 of 8?
I know. Just,
he
what are
shot
you doing?
8 times?
Not even trying at that point. You just gave up. They
You
just
gave
packed it
up.
in and went home.
I just think it's a different level even of those dudes. He's kind of rare. He's almost a 1-1 in all of sports of just absolute choke artist.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to sum it up. I feel mean saying that term because I think we throw it out too much. But, like, literally, dude, you're
That's
a $100 million player.
You know, showing the biggest moments every time in your career.
Time.
Every time in your career. You've disappeared when your team needed you the most.
And I'll also say this. Like, we did a lot of Harden here. I'm not surprised by what happened with him. Kawhi Leonard is being let off the hook, I think. He shot 13 times.
Yeah, he was fine, but he didn't do anything special.
How about you go out shooting almost 40, aiming? You need to be a 30 to 35-point guy. Every time this dude has a good game, we got to throw him above Kevin Durant in the all-time pantheon. But when he has one of these games, these run-of-the-mill games,
we blame James Harden.
It's James Harden. And look, Harden's bad. He deserves to be criticized.
Yeah.
All-time great players, in that moment, you got to lose. I need to see you lose with 30 points or more.
Yeah. Go
Okay?
down
Especially when your
swinging.
running mate is James Harden. If I told you on Friday, because we ended up being wrong on some Sprague and Line stuff, but if I would have told you on Friday's show that the Game 7 on Clippers was going to involve Jokic having 16 points.
They're going to lose the game.
Right.
They're going to lose the game.
Everybody would have said that.
Yep.
But all the role guys and the rest of the starting lineup for the Nuggets was good, and Harden was god-awful. Nobody else really did much. Even Zubac, 10 points? 10?
Yeah.
That was embarrassing. To lose a Game
really
7 going down that way, that's embarrassing stuff.
To the point where Russell Westbrook stealing the ball against his former team and taking a purposeful technical foul, hanging on the rim, and then saying, send them the bleep out of here, whatever he was yelling at the crowd. That was one of the cooler technical fouls I've ever seen. Like, such an emphatic way to end that game.
Oh, made me love him so much.
That was pretty badass. I did enjoy watching that. Two different sides here. One is the Clippers. I think this is more of a macro level discussion about what happens when the face of your franchise and your star player is not a leader and not accountable, and that's who Kawhi Leonard is.
Okay, I want you to hold whatever your other takes are because we're against it. Because I
What?
also have audio clips.
Okay, let's play some audio.
I have Russell Westbrook summing up me as a fan of Russell Westbrook perfectly, and also the coach of the Clippers who just lost in Game 7 telling you he's encouraged by this.
Things are going in the right direction.